When buying a home, securing the right mortgage rate can make a big difference in your monthly payments and overall cost. And so many people in today's world wind up being frustrated. They don't know when's the right time to lock because they don't understand the market. And so this segment is about when is really right for you to lock in your rate. We have a listener question from Keith in Lawrenceville. Says his mortgage lender told him that he needed to lock in his rate soon. I assume he's in the process of buying a home. When is that necessary to do in the buying process, and what does that mean? Well, the reality is you don't want to lock too far in advance in today's world. Sometimes if you're buying new construction, you got to not lock 90 days, 120 days, but you typically pay a little bit of an interest rate premium. And so my answer to you, Keith, is very simple. I need you to keep an eye on the yield of the 10-year Treasury bond. I prefer to use the St. Louis Fed's website, which is Fred, F-R-E-D, and you can just put in here, you can go in and type 10-year Treasury yield Fred, and it'll give you a chart. And I'll give you an example. There is typically about a 2% spread. At one time, it was a little bit higher than 2% in the 30-year fixed rate mortgage and the yield on the 10-year Treasury bond. So let's just take a look at January the 13th of this year. The yield on the 10-year Treasury bond, meaning if you bought a U.S. Treasury, you'd get the equivalent of 4.79% interest, and the yield on the 30-year mortgage, or the interest on the 30-year mortgage, was 7%. So a little bit more than a 2% spread. So let's pick, if we can, a date closer to today, and let's pick April the 10th. And that's because rates got to their lowest this year on April the 10th. They've since come back up just a little bit. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate was 6.62%. And if we look at that on the same day, let's get here, I'm looking at the 11th of April instead of the 10th. The yield on the 10-year Treasury bond was 4.48. So just a little bit over a 2% spread, which is the premium. And so my suggestion for you is to keep your eye on the 10-year Treasury bond and make your decisions based on what you think is going to happen to the yield on the 10-year Treasury bond. My guess is that we're going to have some bumping up and down and up and down and up and down, but I don't expect it to be significantly higher or significantly lower in the next 60 days. So provided you can lock in without spending a premium, then I think it's probably what you should do.